Hi and welcome to this 50-minute posture therapy routine that is primarily focused on putting function back into your feet, your hips and your pelvis, but by working your spine, and you'll understand what that means in just a moment. A lot of us have dysfunctions in our lower body, the feet, the hips, the pelvis particularly, that then start to put pressure in the spine, that start changing the structure of the spine. So people with scoliosis, bulging discs, degenerating discs, all this kind of stuff going on. This routine should hopefully start putting function back into your legs and therefore alleviate a lot of your symptoms, whether that's in your neck area, the rest of your spine, your lower back, your shoulders, and it could even just help you release into other areas, wrists, forearms. You know, don't be surprised if this routine helps you alleviate a lot of other symptoms as well. For this particular routine, you're going to need 2 blocks, a chair. I'm using a plyo box, and the height of your chair really needs to be roughly about your knee height. So I've got 2 foam pads here because this is a little bit higher than my knee height. So that's going to help me keep my legs 90 degrees on the chair, and you're going to need a cushion. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a simple balance test, and understanding this balance test is a really good starting point of where your body's at before you've done this routine. And then at the end of the routine, the idea would be, if you're feeling more balanced, if the aches and tension that you've kind of noticed in your body prior to doing this routine, pain levels, if they all start to subside, then this is a really good indication that your feet, your hips and your pelvis are probably what you need to work on, because by putting function back into those areas, you're then alleviating some of the pain symptoms, the issues, the limitations that you might be experiencing prior to this particular menu. Now, this menu is a little bit longer than most of the routines I try and do, because time is quite a sort of precious commodity that a lot of people tell me about. So just bear with me. It's a really powerful routine, and it's one that I taught recently in a workshop. So enjoy. We're going to start off with a balance test, just shaking it off, standing really nice and easy, not trying to sort of bias your posture in any way. You're just standing really, really nice and easy. Not trying to stand corrected, standing really nice and normal. And then close your eyes, hold no tension in your body, just relax and start to observe where your body's at. So take your attention down to your feet. Oh, mine feel extremely flat today, and my left one feels really sort of rolled in. So I'm feeling the balance in both my feet equally, but very much so into the inner parts of both my feet. And I've got some tension up in the right part of my shoulder and sort of neck area that I'm very aware of. And both my thumbs and my wrists feel very tight. So I'm just observing all of this. And all you're going to do, after observing what's going on in your body, you're simply going to test what it means for that balance that you've just noticed in your body and those things that are going on in your body. You're going to notice what happens in your body and in those areas of stickiness, tension, the pain symptoms perhaps. What happens to those if you just stand with your toes in and heels out like this in pigeon? Not doing anything else, simply activating the feet here and activating your hips, relaxing the abdominals. And if you find that difficult, that is a sign of compensation somewhere in your diaphragm, your abdominals, which you'll start to address in this menu. And all I want you to do is just pay attention to your breathing here, inhaling through the nose and exhale. Inhaling and exhale. Good. And then just release your feet And just out of your own interest, come back into that balance test and see if anything just feels a little bit different. Yeah, so for me, the tension in the right side of my shoulder still seems to be there, which is not uncommon. But what is changing and what has changed by me activating my feet like that is my feet don't feel like they're caving anymore. And I just feel like my legs are a little bit more active, and it does seem like there's some lightness in the upper body all of a sudden. So for me, this is a really good indication that there's a likelihood that this menu is going to help some of this stickiness, some of that sort of pronation that's happening in my feet. It's going to start correcting that. And if you didn't feel that that improved, that simple sort of feet in, heels out didn't quite improve whatever it is that you were feeling, it's not a bad thing. Just go through this entire menu and then take your balance test. We'll do that at the end together, and you'll see how even though directly working your feet isn't going to necessarily change something for you, it could be in your spine, could be in your pelvis, could be in your hips as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. You're now going to come down onto your mat for, actually, sorry, that's the second exercise. We're going to start in a short foot exercise as your first routine. So you're going to stand in this exercise. I'm going to face the camera for this, with your feet hip distance apart, but with your left foot slightly in front of or stepped forwards of your right foot, with the heel of the left foot just in line with the right. Okay, so this is what we call a short foot stance. And all you're going to do here is really feel like your body weight is pushed backwards. So your tailbone and the crown of your head really just feel like they're sat one on top of the other. And all of a sudden, I'm really feeling something sort of fire up into this part of my leg. So this is my hip, this is the side of my pelvis. It's probably a really good indication, if I feel it that active already, that that is something that really lacks function in my body. And by doing this exercise, I'm putting function back into there, and that will hopefully start to alleviate a lot of the stuff that's happening in my body at the moment, okay? So what you're going to do from here is you're going to vary, like half an inch, just turn your feet inwards. So it shouldn't look like this, and you shouldn't have to sort of spin from the hip. In that sort of short foot position, left heel just brushing the line of the right toes, you're turning the feet slightly inwards. And then I want you to bring the hands to the side of your waist, pull the elbows back without lifting your rib cage, relax the abdominals, press the hands into the side of your waist and soften your knees. And as you soften the knees, you're not duck butting. If you do, that's probably an indication of some kind of dysfunction in your lower legs. I want you to really feel like you can sort of hinge and pull the tailbone down towards the ground, okay? So you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you are simply lowering your height to the ground. And then once you're there, press the hands into the side of the waist, pull the thumbs up, fingers wide, feel like someone's pulling your elbows back in towards each other behind you. And we're going to go for 30 repetitions here of lifting the front toes up, keeping the toe mound down, pushing the left toes down. And as you push the left toes down, I want you to recruit that left glute by squeezing it. And then release the left toes and push down. And as you're doing this, I want you to try not to engage your pelvic floor muscles, try not to engage your abdominals. We are simply using the feet to put function back into our legs here, and in the hips and in the pelvis. And eventually what that's going to do is it's going to give our body better balance. It's going to alleviate all the symptoms that we might be feeling and give us a better center of gravity. Squeezing, lifting. This is 5, 6, 7. Notice how my shoulders get lazy, so I'm paying really good attention to my palms staying glued to the waistline, elbows pulling back. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're being really honest about where your body weight is. If you feel like you're tipping forwards, you've got to feel like you're really over those ankles. Here we go, second set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Really feeling this hard into the right side of my hip and pelvis. And last one, switching sides. So you just shake it off. I like to just kind of check in with my body between light switches. Okay, and then I'm going to have my right foot forwards here, so you can see my right foot just in line with the left front of the toes. So if I bring my right foot in front of my left foot, it should just brush the front of the left toes. But I'm in a hip distance position, and then I'm going to have my hands on my waistline, and I'm going to bend my knees here. Okay, so really feeling like you're sitting right above that back ankle. So we're not here. We're not here. We are feeling this right where it should kind of feel like you're using this back hip and the back pelvis. Very slightly turning the toes in, palms on the side of the waist, pushing in, elbows back, shoulders down, thumbs up, fingers wide. Here we go. Right toes lift, push down, squeeze up into that right glute. Right toes down, squeeze up into that right glute. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've now also got cramping in the arch of my right foot. Really good sign. And 10. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, my shoulders are getting lazy, so I'm just being really aware of that. And 10. Here we go. Last 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. And release. Now we're going to come onto the mat. And for the next 2 exercises, we're going to have the blocks in a setting that basically allows us to come and lie on top of the blocks in a supine position, allowing us to release our spine. So we're going to have one block that will be supporting your mid-spine on the lowest setting, and then about 4 inches above that, you're going to have a second block on the highest setting, and then you're going to come and lie in a supine position. I'm just going to move this box away. With the lower rib sitting just on top of that block, and your skull just nicely rested on this top block, okay? And you shouldn't feel like this block is loose at all. You should feel like it's really comfortable and really, really supported. So just make those minor adjustments, allowing yourself just to come and rest on top of these blocks in a really nice, easy position. And then what you're going to do is just lengthen out the legs on the floor. And we're going to play with active feet here. So we're going to activate the feet in what I call this supine or lying supine on blocks with spine release. So I like to just lay here with my elbows slightly bent and my hands facing outwards like this, because it's going to help me release also into the pectoral muscles, release my neck. That'll also help me access my hips as I work further down into my body. Okay, and then from here, we are going to flex our ankles. So really feel like you can try and keep the knees down in the ground. Release any tension across your abdominals. And I want you not just to work your toes, I want you to really feel like you're pulling your ankles towards your shins. I'm going to time us here for 2 minutes. Relax your whole body. Just let the feet do the work here. Breathing in through the nose and exhale. Breathing in and out. And I've got some twitching happening in my left shoulder. Not surprised. Left shoulder usually tends to compensate for a really weak and unstable left side of my pelvis and the acute bunion that I have more on my left foot than my right. So it's probably just a lot of sort of stuff collecting in that left shoulder that's caused a lot of sort of compensation and overworking on my right side, the right wrist, the right shoulder, right top of the neck. And just releasing here, not trying to press anything into the blocks, just letting my elbows fall to the ground here. And just working my feet in towards my thighs. 30 seconds. Good. And now we're going to keep the legs in the same position. We're just going to point them down to the ground. Without lifting the knees, really want you to feel like you're a ballerina. Point those toes all the way down into the ground as much as you can. So really working in plantar flexion here. If the arches of your feet cramp, like mine, it's a really good sign of feet that were probably just losing function and getting a little bit lazy. And if you're cramping, that's a sign that things are starting to wake up and you're putting function back into those parts of your body that weren't quite able to do their job. Two minutes on the clock here. Really point. Keeping the quads relaxed. You're just using the lower legs here. Thirty seconds. Good. And then from here, keeping yourself on the blocks in this, what I call supine thoracic release, I'm going to ask you to bring your feet and your legs into frog. So you're keeping your legs further away from the thighs. So traditionally in frog, you'd bring the heels up and towards your groin area. For this particular exercise, I want you to move the feet away. Keep the feet pressing together. So big toes touching, all four pinky toes touching each other. Soles of the feet trying to touch each other and the heels. And if you find this difficult, that's also a sign of your feet not able to sort of functionally do their job, so to speak. And that's probably going to lead to lots of compensation in your hips, your pelvis, and as a result, probably up into the upper body. So we're just trying to relax the legs here, but keep your feet actively pushing together in towards each other. And this is a 2-minute sort of hold here on the clock, and we're just relaxing. Arms stay in the same position. Releasing, breathing into the ribs. Last 30 seconds here. Let those hips drop. But keep your feet active. I'm finding this really hard. That's a good indication of where tightness in my sort of groin might be coming from, but also where the tension in the right top of my arm and the shoulder may be coming from. And release. And then what I want you to do from here is just briefly take your feet, sort of heel toe the feet off the mat. Again, keeping the feet a good distance away from the back of the thighs. We're just going to go for a nice lovely little knee drop here. So the left thigh is going to drop outwards, foot's going to open out to the sort of side. And with the right foot, I want you to feel like it's planted and your right thigh is opening out to the right side. So we're just going for a really nice kind of knee drop, active knee drop position here. Keeping your head on and spine on the block, arms in this nice soft position, and just hold for 1 minute on this side. Pelvis stays neutral. So if you notice here, both my pelvic bones are pointing upwards. Again, we're getting into the feet, but also sort of working up into the feet, the hips and the pelvis here. Left thigh's dropping out, left foot's dropping out, right foot stays planted, and with this right thigh, you're trying to open it outwards to the right side. Good. And then we're going to go straight into the other side. So this time the right thigh is going to drop, and then left foot stays planted, and you're opening the left foot to the left this time. And just breathe. Good job. And then release. And slowly just roll off both of your blocks. I want you to come into a seated position. And we're going to just release the spine here. So we're going to sit with our legs just off our mat. Feet turned outwards very slightly. And you're just going to sort of catch the tops of your feet here. Just sliding the palms to the tops of your ankles here. And all I want you to do is just round your spine, tuck your chin into the throat, and just release into the back ribs here. So we're sitting in flexion, just releasing any tension along the muscles along the spine, but just getting really deep into our hips here. Breathing in, breathing out. Try to keep all the 10 toes down into the floor. So we're still active into the feet. Release the head. Release your spine. Good job. Amazing. And then from here, you are just going to grab your chair. And for this next exercise, we're going to use the chair as a countertop to release the shoulders, release our pelvis, and the entire chain from the pelvis up into the shoulders through the spine. So what you're going to do from here is your chair is going to be placed just in front of you. Tops of your feet are going to be untucked, so active feet into the floor. And you're going to bring your arms 1 arm's distance away from the body line on top of your chair. Now please make sure that your arms are no wider than shoulder distance, and the first thing I want you to do is, instead of having the elbows turned outwards, I want your elbows turning upwards. So the elbow creases are facing up towards the ceiling. For many of you, this is going to be difficult because you've got some sort of disconnection between your wrists, your forearms, elbows, and your shoulders, but that's the whole point. So I want your base of the palms to be flat down into the ground. And then what you're going to do is, you're not just going to pull the chest to the ground here. I want you to start pushing back. You may need to move your knees back. And as you pull the bum back, I really want you to feel like you are opening from your armpits to get down into this position. Okay, so base of the palms really flat just on top of this chair. And I want you to feel like you're pressing the palms
active down into that box. And then I want you to release the pelvis in order to get down further to the ground. So we're not pulling the chest. If I was pulling the chest, you'd just see kind of this and my feet loosey-goosey into the floor. So really push the tops of the feet into the floor here and feel like your shoulders are going up to the ears to get into your kneeling counter stretch here. Just breathe. Releasing the head. We've got a 1 minute hold here. And release. Good job. And from here, we're just going to come up into standing and just walk around. Take a minute. I'm going to set ourselves up on our chair with our cushion for sitting heel raisers. And for sitting heel raisers, again, the position of your chair, the height of your chair is quite important because you want to be sitting on the front quarter of the chair, but also with your legs 90 degrees. So you can see here, my ankles, my knees, and my hips are in a 90-degree position. If my chair's too high, I'm likely going to probably have my hip higher than my knee line. If the chair's too low, my knee will come above my hip line, okay? It changes the dynamic of the exercise quite slightly, but I think quite a lot because you won't get access into the midfoot as much as you need. You'll actually be working the hip or the sort of quads a little bit more. And when you're sort of in this 90-degree position, you can actually activate into the hips by rolling the spine forwards like so, sitting more down into your hips, keeping your feet square. And we're just going to place a cushion here between our knees. Feet are parallel, so really observe your feet, not have them outwards, not have them inwards. Keep them in line with each other, right and left, and then press the sort of cushion in between your thighs. We're going to have the palms up here in sitting heel raisers, and I just want you to rock your pelvis forwards in a slight extension. So we're not flaring the ribs, chin stays neutral. We're just rolling the pelvis forwards to get a little bit active into our hips, palms open to the ceiling here. And then what we're going to do for heel raisers, we're going to first squeeze the cushion 10 times. 1, 2, relax in the abdominals, 3, 4, 5, 6, and every time I squeeze the cushion, I just feel this massive release across my sacrum. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to just release the cushion, hold it extremely lightly. So you really should feel like with just 2 fingers, you can pull the cushion out. That's just a gentle compression. You're going to lift your heels. Now, as you lift your heels, I want the toe pad staying down and you're lifting from the joint of the toe. You're lifting the heel up as if you're wearing high heel shoes, okay? So many of you try and lift the toe pad up. Please don't try and do that because you're not accessing the midfoot. You really want access into your midfoot here, which is the space from the toe mound all the way up into the heel and the center of the arch of the foot. We're just doing 20 heel raises here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then what I want you to do is lower the heels just until they're maybe a 1 inch off the floor or the ground, or in my case, my foam pads. And I'm just going to ask you to relax here for a moment. You will probably start to feel the legs shaking. If they do, I want you to encourage that shake by relaxing more, not resisting that shake. So you can already see my right leg shaking here. This is a really good sign that there is something happening in my feet, my hips, my pelvis that is restoring function
in my body. Hopefully when I stand up, I should feel, and I already do, I feel that tension in my neck a lot less than I did before I started. So allow this to be good feedback that the exercise is working for you. Just relax. If one starts more than the other, that's okay. The other side will probably catch up. And I want you to just hold this position. Hold as long as you need. You can pause the video, just carry on shaking. You'll probably get to a point where you're quite tired. If that happens, stop and then just carry on with the rest of the routine. I'm gonna hold here for a couple of minutes. It feels really good. Left side of my sacrum just feels like it's releasing massively. My right quad feels like it's releasing. And I just feel like there's a little bit of strength around my calves and my lower legs. And I'm just breathing. Just take a moment to go inwards. Take a moment just to allow this trauma release that's happening in your muscles to help you just kind of release any other emotions, experiences, anything else that may be going on in your life. Allow this exercise just to melt all of that away as it no longer serves you and it's not yours to hold on to. And as we restore function back into our body, as part of this posture routine, feel like we're also giving ourselves a chance just to restore trust, self-worth, and some fluidity back into our bodies, but also into our lives. And that's the power of just realigning the body, putting our sort of body back into the center of gravity here, allowing us to sit on that path of least resistance. Relaxing the mouth, the jaw, your tongue, allowing the eyes to drop to the back of the head here. Just stay here for as long as you need. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm going to stay here for another 30 seconds. And time. Gently. Just releasing that cushion. You can repeat that set as many times as you need. So squeeze and release the cushion, squeeze and release the cushion, and then lift the heels and hold. I've done it once and I feel great. And I'm just going to set myself up for the next exercise here. I'm going to use this plyo box as an imaginary wall, just because it gives you a better angle on the camera. So I want you to imagine that you've got a wall here right in front of you. And for this next exercise, you're going to come lie down on the floor. And as you come lie down on the floor here, we're going to start by lying on our left side. Keep this left shoulder underneath you. And I want you to just use a block on the lower setting like a cushion here. So you're resting the left side of your head down on this cushion, down on this block. And I want you to really feel like this left shoulder isn't forwards. You've got it tucked under you, okay, and behind. And then what I want you to do is keep yourself low enough on this, on your mat, so that your left leg is 90 degrees perpendicular to this wall. So the left foot's planted into the wall, the base of the wall here, where the wall meets the floor. Your left arm is just in front of you, right hand stacked on top. And what you're going to do here, just going to move this slightly away because it's a box, not a wall.
you are going to extend that right leg in abduction against the wall. And you're not going to open the pelvis here. You're going to keep that right hip stacked right above the left. So from here, you may actually need to sort of move a bit away. So this left leg's not actually 90 degrees. It's a bit more like 45. And then I want that right foot really flat into the wall with the right toes facing forwards. And you're just going to hold this position, 30 seconds here. Keeping this left knee down, so really reworking the alignment across your pelvis here. Activating the side of the hips. Good, and then I want you to lift that right leg off the wall, but don't change the composition of the foot. Just lift it. Here we go, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds. I want the foot back on the wall, toes facing forwards. And then lift the right foot and the right leg. Here we go, in extension, no bending of that right knee. Work from that lateral hip. 30 seconds here. Breathe. Last 15. Disengage your abdominals, you're just trying to use the hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And for the last minute, I now want you to turn the toes as much as you can down towards the floor, but keep the whole of the foot onto the wall. So we're internally rotating this hip and the femur, and we're just going to hold here. Breathe, 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 breathe. Release tension in that left leg. There should be nothing happening in the inner thigh. If there is, that's a compensation. Put the right hand just into that left thigh. Relax it. We're just using the right hip here, right leg. Last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. And then we're going to roll over onto the right side. This time you'll have a view of me doing it from the back. So here we go. Right shoulder's underneath. Right foot's planted. Right hip in line with the right shoulder. Right shoulder's right under me. And then I'm going to extend this left foot. I'm just going to look over camera here. Here we go. Let's just hold this for 30 seconds. We're going to do a 10-second lift and then a 30-second lift. Goal is to relax the right thigh, right leg. Good, and now we're just going to lift that left foot. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Put it back on the wall. 30 seconds. And then we go for our big 30-second hold. It's also releasing the rib cage here. Remechanizing the rib position on top of the pelvis underneath your shoulders. Keep that left hip above the right. Don't let it get lazy and turn backwards. Amazing. Here we go. 30 seconds. Left leg lift. 20 seconds to go. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then invert that left foot. So we're going to turn the toes down towards the floor here and just hold. Disengage the right thigh. Keep the right outer ankle, right knee into the floor. Good. And release. Amazing. That's it. And I just want you to just come and lay down on the ground. Just take a few minutes of rest here, actually, and just let your legs just drop out wide. You'll see how much easier that probably is for you, having opened up across the pelvis and the hips, arms out, and just release. Letting go of any tension, and then when you're ready, just roll over to one side and come all the way up into standing. As I said, we're going to finish with a balance test. Just kicking it off, shaking it off, and come into a nice easy standing position here. I just heard massive click, 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 all the way from my left hip into the shoulders, spine. Yeah, my feet don't feel like they're turned inwards. There's a lot less tension in the right side of my neck, and my thumbs feel really nice and loose. Still a bit of tension there, but it's not as much. Overall, that's a really good indication for me that I probably will come back to this type of a menu. And if you've got bunions, back problems, really tight sort of upper body, I would really recommend this menu for you, especially if you've got foot and lower leg dysfunction. So I really hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help.